Yes, but they're my own original creation, because a woman shouldn't have to depend on a man. Snow White was brought back to life by a lady doctor.
And she lived happily ever after?
Well, she couldn't indulge in strenuous activities like handball.
Rachel Zegler is reportedly devastated. After months of publicly defending Disney's Snow White remake, the internet has flipped the narrative, turning the film into a meme and a symbol of Hollywood's misfires. Critics, meme pages, and even entire animation studios have begun dismantling the movie scene by scene. Sources close to Zegler claim she's deeply upset by the backlash and is even considering therapy in the wake of the overwhelming negativity. But the criticism isn't just coming from anonymous trolls online. Major animated shows, viral content creators, and meme factories have joined in, collectively turning Disney's remake into a cultural punchline. What was supposed to be a bold, modern reimagining with progressive themes and diverse casting has instead become a cautionary tale. Disney's gamble on rewriting a classic with a contemporary lens didn't pay off. In fact, the film reportedly tanked at the box office, losing hundreds of millions, and critics wasted no time pointing fingers. One of the first to strike was Family Guy, known for its ruthless satire. Even before the full Snow White drama had unfolded, the show dropped a now viral clip featuring a cryogenically frozen Walt Disney waking up in a hospital. When told that Disney is still making remakes, he grimly responds, "Put me back in." It was a single punchline, but it cut deep, mocking Disney's reliance on nostalgic content with diminishing returns. Later, the show doubled down. In another scene, Peter Griffin strolls through Disneyland while a roller coaster labeled Disney stock crashes in the background. A brutal but subtle jab at the company's falling value and tarnished brand. The harshest roast, though, came in a segment mocking Hollywood's identity politics. Peter repeatedly mistaking characters' genders, eventually yells, "What is everything?" It wasn't just a joke, it was a statement, critiquing casting choices driven more by social messaging than storytelling. But Family Guy was only the beginning. South Park took it further with its explosive special, joining the Panderverse. In it, a parody of Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy wields a magical artifact, the Pander Stone, which she uses to insert diverse, rewritten characters into every classic franchise. The satirical formula? Put a chick in it and make her gay. With that one line, South Park skewered Disney's reboot strategy, targeting Snow White as a prime example of performative storytelling. Even conservative voices like Ben Shapiro praised the episode, calling it one of the most honest things South Park has ever done about Hollywood.
Tell me exactly what it is you're afraid of.
I keep having the same dream. Everywhere I look, people are being replaced.
Okay, and who do you think is going to have you replaced?
Them. The puppet masters. The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway. And I see Butters, and he's like, "Hey Eric, you want to see what my mom packed me for lunch?" And that's when I start to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced.
Following Disney's challenges with the release of Snow White, the Daily Wire stepped in with an announcement of their own adaptation. Daily Wire Studios revealed plans to create a version of the classic tale that stays faithful to the original fairy tale. Promising a propaganda-free approach, they emphasized that their production would not include gender swaps, political messaging, or major rewrites. Instead, their goal is to deliver a traditional retelling of Snow White, true to its roots and free from modern reinterpretations. This move reflects the studio's broader aim to offer alternative storytelling that appeals to audiences seeking classic narratives.
Snow White.
That really is the main point. We're just trying to represent the values that Snow White is based in, the timeless values that we all loved growing up that are sadly being forgotten in this new adaptation. Weird.
The announcement made waves online, going viral almost instantly, but behind the scenes, things took a turn. Brett Cooper, who was originally cast as the lead in the new Snow White project by the Daily Wire, quietly stepped away. No official statement was made, and the production is now stalled in uncertainty. Still, the teaser alone drew millions of views with a clear message from audiences. People are craving stories free from political agendas. Whether or not the film moves forward, the overwhelming response showed that the demand is real. Meanwhile, one of the sharpest critiques didn't come from a mainstream show, it came from YouTube. The animation duo Beanie Bros released a 60-second parody of Disney's Snow White, and it quickly went viral, surpassing 9 million views. What made it hit harder? The style matched exactly what Rachel Zegler had claimed she wanted, a gritty, modern Snow White, with no prince, no romance, and full girl boss boss energy. The parody opens with a jaded Snow White insulting the dwarves, mocking the original fairy tale, and demanding control over her own narrative. Fast-paced, biting, and unapologetically satirical, the video struck a nerve, capturing both the tone of the current debate and the internet's appetite for unfiltered commentary.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
Let's see. Excuse me, your curtain. Please allow me to help.
Help? From you? Spare me your white savior complex.
I didn't mean to offend. I just thought you should know that
That I should know what? That some privileged white guy thinks his opinion matters? Get over your entitlement. I'm not some damsel in distress waiting for you to ride in on your high horse.
I'm really sorry. I was just trying to be kind.
Kind? If you want to be kind, disappear and take the patriarchy with you. Seriously, go away, stalker. You're weird. Weird.
My queen, you're the fairest, but no longer the most evil.
Wait, what?
Ironically, Beanie Bros delivered exactly the kind of Snow White Rachel Zegler said she wanted. Gritty, modern, no prince, no romance, and still managed to make it look absurd. Viewers quickly caught on with comments like, "This isn't a parody, it's exactly what Disney is making." That's what made it hit so hard. So far, Snow White has been roasted by Family Guy, South Park, The Daily Wire, and viral YouTubers. But there's still one major player that hasn't weighed in, and if they do, it could be the final blow. The Simpsons. Unlike other shows, The Simpsons is owned by Disney, which makes any criticism from them a form of self-satire. And far more damaging, the show has already begun subtly poking at Marvel burnout, endless reboots, and even Star Wars. Fans have noticed the slow build-up, speculating that The Simpsons is testing the waters. If they go after Disney's woke era directly, it won't be loud, it'll be a quiet, cutting moment slipped into a couch gag or background scene. But when it lands, it'll be decisive. Adding to the pressure, Disney is reportedly worried about its upcoming Tangled remake, rumored to cost up to $500 million, while Snow White may have already cost them over $200 million in losses.
It's like Disney might be finally learning their lesson. They are stopping indefinitely the development of a live-action Tangled movie. Now, Disney is not coming forward and saying exactly why this Tangled live-action remake has been halted, but The Hollywood Reporter writes this. The pause occurs in the wake of the rather underwhelming release of Disney's latest live-action adaptation, Snow White. They flopped so hard in Snow White, trying to be brazen and rewrite history and representative of its modern audience, and we all saw how that went. So maybe, if Tangled ever gets picked back up off the cutting room floor, you stick to what
Disney executives know they're walking a tightrope. One misstep, a casting controversy, a poorly worded interview, and the internet will roast the next remake before a trailer even drops. But the issue runs deeper than any single film. Raposa estimate Disney has lost nearly $900 million on its recent string of woke flops. And critics aren't blaming inflation or market trends. They're blaming creative choices. Even Megyn Kelly weighed in, arguing that Disney's real problem isn't politics, but arrogance. The belief that audiences will keep coming no matter what, even if storytelling takes a back seat to messaging. That gamble isn't paying off anymore.
Disney, the Daily Mail reporting on this, is looking at an almost $900 million loss right now, following a series of woke flops at the box office. Apparently, there's an analysis out there showing that films like Lightyear, in which they decided to make Buzz Lightyear gay, The Little Mermaid, which is now woke. I'm trying to get the latest one. Elemental, that's one of the ones that includes a non-binary character, which had one of the worst openings ever. Worst opening weekend in company history. We could go down the list.
And she's not alone. Charlie Kirk also criticized Disney, accusing the company of playing with the trust of families. He argued that the studio has strayed far from its roots and is now almost unrecognizable to those who grew up with its classic family-friendly content.
I try not to make a habit, Megan, of rejoicing in the suffering of people or companies. I have suspended that rule. I am loving this bloodbath. I love the misery. I love the suffering, because Disney used to be a wholesome, family-friendly company that made billions of dollars off of families like my own that I grew up in, where my parents trusted Disney. They violated that trust, and they deserve to suffer.
The numbers don't lie. Snow White pulled in just $184 million against a bloated budget of $270 million. A financial disaster by any standard. Now every upcoming Disney remake, Tangled, Lilo, and Stitch, even Hercules, is unders. Intense scrutiny. One high-profile flop might be dismissed as bad luck, but this? It's starting to look like a trend. So here we are. One failed remake, 4 major animation studios roasting it, and hundreds of millions in losses. And the most iconic satire machine in TV history, The Simpsons, is still sitting on the bench. The question isn't if they'll say something, it's when, and when they do, it could be the final blow. Because here's the thing, it's not just about Snow White. It's about what it represents. When Family Guy mocks you, it stings. When South Park drops a full-blown special just to torch your creative direction, it burns. When a 60-second YouTube parody by Beanie Bros hits harder than your $250 million film, that's not just comedy, it's a wake-up call. And when all of this happens in the span of 1 year, it's not coincidence, it's commentary. The problem isn't that Snow White changed, it's that it stopped feeling like a story and started feeling like a statement. A press release dressed up in a fairy tale dress. Audiences aren't rejecting evolution or inclusivity, they're rejecting shallow, preachy storytelling that puts the message before the magic. Even longtime Disney fans are stepping away, disillusioned by a studio that once defined their childhood now being ridiculed across platforms, network TV, YouTube, TikTok, and beyond. This isn't a one-off backlash, it's a pattern, and unless something shifts soon, it's only going to get louder. Critics like Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk have said as much. They aren't just calling out politics, they're calling out arrogance. The assumption that audiences will keep showing up no matter how far the content drifts from the heart of what made Disney beloved in the first place. The fans aren't angry that Snow White evolved. They're upset that it was replaced with something unrecognizable. So what do you think? Are these animated takedowns unfair? Or are they just saying what everyone else is thinking? Can Disney still course correct? Or is the woke era too far gone? Let us know below. This conversation isn't over. And next time, no princesses, no fairy tales, but just as messy. Stay tuned.